Welcome to Mystery Stories 365. Imagine being sealed inside a metal pod the size of a van. The ocean pressing down on you with 700 tons of force per square meter. No radio contact, oxygen slowly running out, and the only people who can save you are on the surface 480 meters above your head. This is not a movie. This happened. And what makes it more terrifying is that by the time rescuers finally found them, the two men inside had exactly 12 minutes of breathable air left. It was August 29, 1973. The Atlantic Ocean, off the southwest coast of Ireland. Roger Chapman and Roger Mallinson, two experienced British submersible pilots, were aboard the Pisces III, a small deep-sea research submarine operated by the Canadian company Vickers Seatech. Their mission that day was completely routine. They were laying a transatlantic telephone cable on the ocean floor. Pisces III was a remarkable little vessel just over 5 meters long, built to carry 2 men, and built to withstand the crushing pressures of the deep ocean. Chapman and Mallinson had done this job dozens of times. There was absolutely no reason to think today would be any different. But as Pisces III was being hoisted back up to the surface support ship, something went terribly wrong. The hatch on the aft sphere, the rear compartment of the submarine, suddenly flooded with seawater. The extra weight was instant and catastrophic. Before anyone on the surface could react, the tow rope snapped. The submarine plummeted. Chapman and Mallinson had no time to prepare. In seconds, they were falling in total darkness, down, 480 meters to the ocean floor. The sub hit the seabed with a hard thud, tilting at a steep angle, nose buried deep into the silt below. They were alive, but completely trapped, and already their oxygen supply had begun its terrible countdown. On the surface, the alarm was raised immediately. But a rescue at nearly 500 meters depth in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in 1973 was almost impossible. There were only a handful of vessels in the entire world capable of reaching them, and not a single one was nearby. The British Royal Navy scrambled into action. The U.S. Navy flew specialist deep-sea rescue equipment all the way across the Atlantic. A second submersible, the Pisces II, was rushed to the scene, and another submarine, the Pisces V, was airlifted from Canada. The whole world was watching. Meanwhile, down on the ocean floor, Chapman and Mallinson did something extraordinary. They stayed calm. They rationed their oxygen carefully. They took turns sleeping to slow their breathing and reduce how much air their bodies consumed. They spoke quietly and moved as little as possible. They conserved every molecule of air they could, lying in near total darkness, freezing cold, tilted at a harsh angle, unable to stand up properly, for hour after hour after hour. 10 hours, 20 hours, 40 hours, 60 hours, still waiting, still alive. On the surface, the rescue attempts were failing one after another. Pisces II could not attach a tow line in the pitch-black water and the treacherous Atlantic currents. Engineers were running out of ideas. Then, as a final last resort, the Americans brought in the CURV-III, an unmanned deep-sea vehicle that had originally been built to recover lost nuclear weapons from the ocean floor. It was flown in urgently and deployed into the dark water below. After repeated failures and unbearable tension, CURV-III finally managed to tangle its own recovery line around the Pisces III hatch, an improvised connection, barely holding, but holding. Slowly, painfully slowly, Pisces III was winched upward through the dark water. 480 meters, 350 meters, 200 meters, 100 meters, and then the submarine broke the surface. When rescuers cracked open the hatch and looked inside, both men were conscious. Exhausted, freezing, barely able to speak, but alive. The oxygen gauge showed they had exactly 12 minutes of usable air remaining when that hatch came open. 12 minutes. After 76 hours on the ocean floor, they had been that close to never coming back up. Roger Chapman later said that the one thing that kept him going was a simple belief. He refused to accept that the people above him would stop trying. He just had to outlast the clock. And in an era before GPS, before modern underwater robots, before satellite communication was commonplace, a team of navies and engineers from 3 different countries pulled off what experts called the most difficult deep-sea rescue ever attempted in human history. No one was paid a bonus. No one became a celebrity. They simply worked without sleep, without rest, because two men were sitting at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean and were counting on them. The ocean is the least forgiving place on Earth. At 480 meters, the pressure would crush an unprotected human body in an instant. There is no margin for error down there. No second chances, no help just around the corner. And yet, two men held on, and the world above them refused to let go. This is a true story. Every detail you just heard actually happened. And it is a reminder, one of the most powerful reminders there is, of what human beings are truly capable of when it actually matters. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel Mystery Stories 365 and drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this story. And tell me which mystery you want to hear next. I will see you in the next one.